They done died on me, bruh. Round 3. We on round 3, y'all. You gotta listen to your intuition. I was just like, you know what? Maybe I should do this tonight. I don't know.
I'm like, what are
But
you
here we
saying?
are. I'm just talking, man. Intuition is real, and this never would have happened if I never would have just said, "Hey, you want to go live? Let's have this discussion tonight." So just listening to the God. But Sister Naomi stated a question, and Sister Akilah, you were explaining if you remember the question.
Yes. So the question was, I mean, did you want to restate the question?
You can restate it.
Okay, yeah. The question was basically, she was asking, as all of us, we all grew up in the Nation of Islam, nation babies. So was there any point in time where you had to find yourself in this, find yourself, explore who you are as a Muslim girl in training, surrounded by, I guess finding your own unique print within the nation? And so I was saying that I experienced that once I got married. I had to find myself and understand that my journey was different because my husband is not a registered member. So I had to learn that I am still me, and I'm still an MGT, and I still get along with everybody. I still believe Master Fard Muhammad is God. And so I had to just reevaluate, everything, because I expected to go down the same road that everyone else was going down, or everyone was expected to do. And so now I've accepted who I am, what I chose, who I chose. I'm grateful for who I chose, because without that particular choice, my husband Phil, it would not have brought out of me a lot of the things that I had no idea were in me, because I had to reach down deep into my belief for myself, not because my village believed and because we all just believe and we just in this village and just, we all together. But I had to reevaluate and explain the teachings in a way that, to my husband, in a way where I'm like, man, I didn't even realize certain aspects. I didn't go as deep into really delving into God and how he created himself and all of the different things that we're kind of taught when we, grow up, and you just hear lecture after lecture. So you think until you're challenged. And then you have to be like, wait a minute, how much do I really know about this topic? Do you know the surface level, and oh yeah, the will and God came and this and that. You know the surface level, but do you really know the science to the point where you could break it down to anybody? A child, you know what I mean? And I don't think that would have been able to come out of me if I had not married who I did. So I'm grateful, because being married to him, I started NOI Beliefs 101. And that has helped many of people.
Wow.
So I'm over here burning the rice, y'all.
Wow. See, everything is divine. Everything is divine. Everything happens for a reason, man.
Everything happens for a reason. So yeah, I had to go through that journey myself. And I'm sure other believers had to go through their own journey. So yeah.
Yep, everything serves its ultimate purpose. What about you, Sister Nora?
Well,
Your
I
husband said not the rice, Akilah.
Right.
I'm like,
in here
oh,
is so funny.
You're gonna have to scrape the top. We're gonna have to scrape the rice from the top, because the bottom, the way this house is smelling.
That is so cute. He actually sat here and he listened to everything that you said. That is
He's
adorable.
awesome. My
Adorable.
husband is awesome.
Praise be to Allah. What a blessing. But to answer the question, I grew up. My dad was in the nation, but my mom was not. So there was a lot. I just went to the mosque and Savior's Day. I knew who the minister was, Minister Ishmael, Minister Ava. I knew who everyone was, but surface level stuff, But once I joined when I was 18, as far as finding myself, well, really just getting back to who I was when I was a child. That didn't really happen until, when was this? Like 2019. When I really got into my content creating journey. I was striving to be like this Muslim woman that I thought I was supposed to be, information, straight to the point, just, I don't know. I wasn't myself. I wasn't being me. And it wasn't until, I think it was 2020 when I really just had like an epiphany or just like a moment when I was like, you know what? I am not who I used to be. And I'm still trying to figure out really who I am. And so I went back to who I was in high school, making people laugh, just being weird myself. And so beginning of 2020, that's when I started experimenting with TikTok and just started sharing, kind of me being me. And I didn't know that it was going to be as attractive as it was, or as, people really liked it. It was like, oh my God, you're so funny. And from there, pretty much all of 2020, that's when I kind of just started just being myself and showing that all on the internet. And it has really brought in, not even just like people to follow me and like opportunities, but it just made me feel like I am who I'm supposed to be. Like I didn't really need to put on anything because everything was already inside of me. I just had to go find it because it was lost. So, yeah, all of last year, I was just a child, just, hey, I'm going to do this. I want to do that. That sounds fun. So I'm just going to try that. Just being creative, literally just being myself, who I was before I decided I was this other person. And that's kind of what got me to where I am today. And of course, information, knowledge, sitting through and just listening to people because I like listening to people. But even, man, just me being on my own for these last few months, I'm learning more about myself that I never learned because I've always been around people. I've never been by myself. And I'm really getting a better understanding of my purpose and really who I am. But, yeah, I guess the start was just stop caring about what I thought people would think and stop caring about who I thought I was supposed to be and just became who I am. So I think that answers the question.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I same thing with, I didn't get registered till I was 23. And my dad is prior to 75. My mom came in the 80s. Both of them have been laborers. My mom was MGT captain. My dad has held different posts. And
wow,
your
mama was a captain.
I know.
Yes, my mother was a MGT captain. So the struggle of seeing on paper what a MGT looks like or a believer looks like, and trying to mold yourself almost like completely lose who you are, like your personality and everything, and you try to fit into this mold that people's in the believers say that this is what a believer looks like, right?
Yeah.
And I've been a lieutenant before, and to me that was one of the biggest, to be a vanguard and be a lieutenant and to work with the Vanguard and see girls who are just like me. All of them were nation babies.
Mm-hmm.
And to try to force them to fit into this mold,
Mm.
or at least what I thought was. It was so funny. I was in Miami, and it was when I first got there. A lot of them did not come out. And then I just started saying, well, why don't y'all come out? Not necessarily the whole post, just, come out. Let's hang together. I wanted to get to know them
Yeah.
because I knew what it felt like to feel like you're forced into something, forced to do something, and it's not coming from a place of love. It's not going to last very long, right?
Yeah.
And so when
Revolving
we were
door.
forced to come to the mosque growing up, it was like, I hate listening to lectures. I hate going to the mosque. I don't want to sit for 3 hours or 4 hours, because we used to, as children, you sitting in the back, you sitting there the whole time. It ain't nothing to do. You don't understand it. So for a long time, I ran from the teachings. But it's so crazy because in my life experiences, the teachings always showed up and was the answer.
Right.
So when I finally decided to get registered at 23, I still was struggling with, like, who am I? You know what I'm saying? Like, who is Naomi? Not who is the believer, but who is Naomi at the core? So if I don't cover my hair all the time, then I'm less of a Muslim.
Right.
And, or if I like to eat, not no pork on my fork, but like I might like a little almond every now and again. That makes me less than a Muslim. I'm eating in restaurants and the old Pride of 75. We don't eat in the devil's kitchen. Then that, and I'm telling y'all, I'm a food lover. I love food. I like to try new food. So I'm in everybody different kind of restaurant, right? Does that make me less than a believer? And I finally came to terms with my expression of Islam and how Allah manifests through me is not going to be like anybody else. So I heard the minister say it, and I also heard Mother Tanetta say it one time when people were talking about they wanted to be just like them. And that's not his desire for us to be just like him, because we can never be him. He wants us to be ourselves.
Right.
And then that is when I kind of eased into like who I am. I'm that awkward, weird, laugh at stuff that ain't funny, sciency, and not spooky, but very intuitive. And I pick up on stuff and I see stuff and I deliver messages. That's me. But I hid from her for so long. Like, I love crystals. I love meditation. I like the different, talking about different dimensions and the higher sciences of stuff. That is who I am. And when I finally just accepted that was who I was, it seemed like I started to connect and speak into and basically help people. And that was my calling, like helping people, but helping people through that. And then that's when I say, you know what, I'm going to throw away this idea that I have to be the best driller, that I always have to be wearing a headpiece and a garment. And that is what makes me the best MGT. And I talk a little rough sometimes. I'm not the most soft spoken sister, and that was hard for me to accept, because I'm like, an MGT is soft spoken and she's not loud and she's not boisterous, right? But that ain't me. That's my voice sounds like it sounds, and it's a little rough. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. That doesn't make me less. Oh, look at Nilani.
Like,
Oh my God, I love me some Nilani.
They're back.
So I just had to accept who I actually was, which is me now, fully and totally. And when I got to this point, you know what I said? I said, you know what? You're going to take me with a grain of salt. Either you're going to like me or you're not. But it does not make me less than a believer. And I know that I have a direct connection to Allah, and that he has a connection with me. And I don't need an intercessor to tell me how to talk to him, how to connect with him, how to let him speak through me, how to let him move through my life. Just because people hold positions and posts do not mean that they are my God. Let them be, respect where they come from, respect what they think, and move on and do what I know that Allah poured in me to do. And when I did that, I must say my life has made a complete 360. I ain't gonna say 180, 360. It
All the way
continues to go in a
around.
circle, and I evolve. I
It's like a
evolve.
spiral.
And I know it's nobody but Allah. And I
Wow.
know that it's only his connection. And I know that when I just focus on him and him alone and what he pours into me and what he shows me, then I am doing what I'm supposed to do. And I have accepted my own, and I am being myself, because he can't use me if I do not accept who he created me to be. Period. Period.
Man.
That's beautiful.
Oh my goodness. That's
But
exactly why I'm a huge advocate for specifically the women in the nation. Is just share who you are, because who you are is who you're going to connect with, the people who you're meant to connect with you just being you. People will understand the minister, they will understand the teachings, they will know God through you.
yes.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. It's just so beautiful to hear it,
And
and
you know
know that I'm
what?
not
And as
crazy.
big sisters, we have to allow the room for people to grow into who they are at the core. That means we are not always going to see a beautiful side of them. We are going to see their mistakes. We are going to see the trials that they go through. But in no way, shape, or form are we their God. And should we ever pass judgment on them based on them going through the trials to become themselves? Like, that is what being a sister to someone is. That is what being a big sister looks like. And that is what sisterhood and the Ummah is supposed to look like.
Right.
But once we all fix ourselves, then all the other stuff fixes itself as well. But we have got to stop being so judgmental. Because I one thing I never liked growing up was when the elders used to, say like we were children, we were making mistakes just like everybody else, and feeling like we did not love Islam as much as they did. Well, your walk was your walk. But I always say this: imagine being born into something, a teaching that's so perfect, but you as a child don't see perfection in the house.
Right.
And the amount of spirit, the amount of love, the amount of understanding that you have to go through in order to actually accept this for yourself. Because although we are born in, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say that nobody makes a believer except Allah.
Right.
Nobody. And so just because we see us walk away and we want to get into we fall into traps of the world, and we get to experience the world. What if your child that was born and raised in this nation and that was taught from the womb was the one to go out there and learn all them hard lessons out in the world and live that life, so that when she comes back to where she came from, which is the nation and the teachers, and come up under it, she can actually teach and save thousands
More
and
lives.
not even millions of other people who are out there in the world, because she can actually connect with them, because she understands them, because she know what it is to be out there in them streets and everything else. Like my father, it's funny, my dad thought he lost me once upon a time, girl, because I used to be in the trap house and everything, right? And my father told me last year, he said, he said, if I only would have understood you back then, I would not have made as many mistakes as I did with you. He said, but now I understand that was just Allah's calling for your life, because I lived a certain type of life when I left and didn't go to the mosque and, went out and did my own thing. But all of the lessons that I'm learning, those are the people that he sent to me now out of the world. and I can speak a word into their life and let them know that Allah, who came in the person of Master Father Muhammad, is real. And he loves you despite your mistakes. And he wants you to come to him. And it's nothing that you've done that he don't know about, that he's not trying to heal you and correct in your life so that he can use your life as a testament for somebody else. We just really don't. It's hard to be nation babies because people figure that we don't appreciate what we have. We appreciate in more ways than one what we have and what we grew up under. But there's one thing about growing up in something and you hearing it, and it's a whole nother thing when you embody something and you understand it for yourself. That is what makes us believers. Not being able to quote teachings. What your life look like?
Actions. What are you doing?
How many lives are we saving?
Woo!
Whose lives are we pouring into? Are we resurrecting the dead by not being able to look at our little raggedy lives that we done live and actually seeing what God looks like? Because each one of us that been through something, this is what God looks like when he's working on you and he has his hand on you and he's walking with you.
Praise be to Allah.
So
it would be nothing without him.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
See, that's why I always say I'm grateful for my father for not forcing that on us. After a certain age, I think I was like 11 or 10, he stopped making us go to the mosque. And, we was like, hey, we gotta go to the mosque. But for me, that just left me just open to find it myself. Open to fall in love with this information and actually understand it myself. Because it's one thing, you can teach somebody something, but if they don't want to understand it, they don't want to learn it, they're not going to learn it. They're not going to comprehend it. It's like teaching a 12-year-old how to manage their money. Like, they don't care about that. They don't have money. That's not something they're talking about. Thinking about. So, if anyone has children, then those children are nation babies. Not forcing it is really, and just being the example is really all that we can do. In all honesty,
that part, because we saw lots of foolishness growing up.
Yeah,
that made us be like, it's better to be out there in the world than this. Not ignorance, not understanding. So understand that everybody has their walk, and depending on what we show them, then that depends on whether or not they want to be a part of the nation when they grow up. I think if we, as a mother of, I have 3 boys, and then I just had my first daughter, allowing them to express themselves and express their Islam. It does not have to be copycat to anyone else because they are unique. And Allah gave them a unique blueprint that his attributes that nobody else in the history, if there will never be another them. Allow them to express his attributes the way that it needs to be expressed, and to grow them up in love and allow them to express what these teachings mean to them. Because we would be surprised how much small children, when you be teaching them like out of the books and having them read and stuff like that, they actually have their own opinions about what the teachings mean to them. And we should allow them or guide them, if they're not, if they don't have the proper view. But sometimes they have to grow into the right view and the proper view. And that takes time, that takes trial. So now that I'm a parent, forcing the teachings, like, I just don't believe in making a child sit, although we ain't in the mosque now, but making little children that are 1, 2, and 3 sit for 3 hours. It's just, they're just
incomprehensible.
Yeah, that's just not happening, right? But you know what? My oldest is 10, but when he was 4, he surprised the heck out of me. We came from the mosque one time, and one of the sisters was talking. She was doing a lecture, and it was about being friends with God. And she was talking about how Abraham was a friend of God. And like a month later, my 4-year-old said, "Something like babe." My 4-year-old said, he said, "How does one become the friend of God?" And my eyes got big, and I was like, "Where'd you get that from?" And he was like, the sister said it in the lecture at the boss. Now, 4-year-old. I thought he wasn't paying attention. Now, he was back there kicking his feet, playing with toys, all that in that particular lecture. But he asked me that question, and I said he was listening.
That's right.
The whole time. It was going in him. So just the only thing we can do as parents is be the best example.
Yep. And
be the best example for them on what Islam actually looks like. And if we make mistakes, it's okay to make mistakes and talk about the mistakes that you made in front of your children. Let them know, yeah, mama made a mistake. I am not perfect. And I don't have all the answers. Maybe you got the answer. Maybe Allah gave it to you.
That's right.
If we're taught that at 6, we supposed to know what we're supposed to do in life, then maybe your 6-year-old got the answer. But are we humble enough?
Right.
To hear it.
Right.
But I am going to stay on for maybe like 5 more minutes, and I'm gonna dip out because the husband has came home.
Yes,
right. And my husband came home too, so I'm about to. I already got my plate ready.
Oh, you finna eat? Well, I'm grateful.
This has been wonderful.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Y'all have inspired me for real.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, the both of you, for joining.
Thank you. You're the one who called it, so thank you for listening to the Lord.
Right.
No idea.
And I just saw y'all, and I was like, "Oh, my favorite people! These are some of my favorite people." Let me see, and I just was like, "Okay, let me send a thing and see if she'll let me join."
Yep, I said, "Hey, I just wanted." Well, what was the vision? The original thought for this was to talk about Kevin Samuels and how we could bring God back into the picture, because it really hurt my feelings when I don't know if you watch any Kevin Samuels stuff, but every time I'd see some of the clips, it really hurt my feelings that these women asking these certain questions and just had these certain views of themselves, and I just wanted to bring God back, and I just wanted to bring God into the picture. So that's where all of this kind of originated, and so we kind of just was talking, and then we,
Well, this was great. Thank you. We're gonna have to get back on here again.
Yeah, and you know what? We can totally talk about the Kevin Samuels thing. I just next time, I told Brother Ben X, I say, man, y'all need to have this podcast earlier and invite some sisters to the platform, because y'all be up late at night, and I can't be up late at night on no on no Zoom call.
Right.
Carrying on, but that's definitely a topic that Kevin Samuels topic is a topic that needs to be spoken about. Because a woman confident in herself will never put herself in a position to be. And if you know that a man functions, and I'm not saying he's a bad person, just the way that he expresses sometimes is not the best. But I always talk about accountability, and we have to put accountability back on ourselves, because sisters, why are we going on his platform?
That's my
accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability, because if you don't put yourself in a position, then no one can handle you in that manner. Because I would never.
Right.
Yep, it'll be a discussion.
Yes.
Now we have Naomi in the huddle. Man, woo! This is gonna be fun. I'm excited.
Milani!
Assalamualaikum. Say bye.
It's so cute. But yes, I'll go. Time for dinner for us as well. So love y'all.
Love you.
Thank y'all for the wonderful conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Love you.
All right. Assalamualaikum.